Welcome to Dory Cote on Shamanism, a weekly podcast that explores one theme in shamanism throughout each month. Get comfortable, have a seat, and let's get started.
Welcome to episode 53 of my weekly podcast. We're going to be talking today about serenity.
Dory, as we begin the second year of podcasts, from your perspective, what is serenity?
I would begin by describing serenity as a state of being rather than a state of doing. There is no way that a person can actually do serenity. Serenity, in short, is a state in which one experiences peace, harmony, lack of conflict, a state of being where one feels they are one with all that is, and a deep, deep sense of inner peace, regardless of what might be going on externally in their world. It is not an easy state to achieve, and one that eludes a lot of people. Many people don't even understand what serenity is because they've never visited there. I'm going to try in this podcast today to explain a little bit more about how one might achieve a state of serenity so that they can better understand, oh, that is what they're talking about when people say, I feel serene or I'm in a state of serenity.
Dory, we all know people who use the Serenity Prayer in their lives as a way of maintaining balance and separation. Is that practice something that you would recommend?
I love the Serenity Prayer. And you'll recall that last few podcasts we talked about prayer, and I specifically talked about the difference between decree and petition. The thing that I love about the Serenity Prayer is that there's a lot about it, which is like a decree, because it says very clearly, God, and that, of course, is whatever the God of your understanding is. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Now, that prayer has a lot of wisdom in it. Sorry to be repetitive about the word wisdom, but the wisdom is there in that saying those words helps a human person understand that in order to achieve that being, that state of being of serenity, it is important to not get tangled up in what is going on around you at any given time. Whether it's world events or whether it's a drama that's going on in your family or whether it's a trauma that is happening in your myths, whatever it is, the wisdom is there that to achieve a state of serenity, one must let go or really surrender to what is happening externally and maintain that place inside the self that is not churned up, that is not accessing or getting sucked into whatever is happening externally. It's not an easy state to achieve, but once one has achieved a state of serenity, it's a known sense. It is a place that you can visit again once you have visited it, because you are aware when you're in a state of serenity of not having the anxiety or those butterflies in your stomach or that sense of what is the next thing that's going to happen that is going to throw my life into a turmoil, or that sense that perhaps the next shoe is going to fall really soon and you're just waiting for that shoe to fall. When you're in that kind of state, you're not in a state of serenity. When you're in a state of serenity, you know that you're there because you are not in that other place.
How can a meditation practice enhance a person's sense of serenity?
A meditation practice is a really great way to begin to understand and access that sense of serenity, because in meditation one seeks to truly use their thoughts to just breathe and not get emotionally caught up in whatever is happening other than I'm having a thought. And this is merely a thought. It is not a truth. It is a thought. Then, of course, there are other meditation practices in which one seeks to dump their thoughts or to not be in a thought at all. Either of those kinds of meditation practices involve deep breathing, accessing your inner core self, your heart, your breath, your sense of groundedness, while at the same time being in a state of peace. And so if one practices meditation on a regular basis, after some time, and it doesn't really take all that long, one doesn't have to meditate for an hour, but somebody simply meditates for about 10 minutes a day, then the practice creates like a track that you can go into, like a groove in the record, so that each time you meditate, you are able to go to a slightly deeper and deeper place. And over time, and again, I don't know how much time because it's a very individual practice, but over time, one can achieve deep sense of serenity in a 10-minute meditation. And having accessed that state of serenity, it begins to grow as a state of being, one that you can revisit regularly by simply focusing inwardly and breathing and stopping all the whirlwind that is happening outside of yourself by just going into your own serene, peaceful place. So that, meditation I find is a very, very useful practice that leads one to achieving that state of serenity.
It sounds like the Serenity Prayer leads with mental mylinization of getting to serenity, whereas meditation also adds the kinesthetic and physical memories of where serenity is.
I think that's true, Jill. And, a combination of those two things, saying the Serenity Prayer under one's breath from time to time, which I'm apt to do if somebody, particularly when I'm in the car, if I'm driving and somebody does something really dangerous or what I deem to be stupid, going to the Serenity Prayer helps me to refocus. Okay, this person's actions are not a reflection of me. It has nothing to do with me. I just need to center myself and know that I cannot control that person. I just need to maintain my own state of being. And then, of course, meditating while you're driving is not a wise thing. But, by following up with, dumping the mind and going to a place of meditation is a highly beneficial thing.
As a shamanic practitioner, how does shamanic journeying help you and other practitioners maintain serenity?
Well, I surely cannot speak for every shamanic practitioner. However, I can say this about myself and about what, current research has shown, and that is that being in a shamanic journey is an exceptionally peaceful place to be most of the time. even though we're using, to some extent, a focused intention to achieve entry into a trance state of another reality, there is a release of all external activity, all external thought, and chaos of any kind, to enter this state of being, which is phenomenally peaceful and harmonious with all beings. And so research has shown that people who do shamanic journeying regularly access a slower heart rate, their blood pressure goes down. Typically, they are able to maintain a state of peacefulness for longer periods of time after a shamanic journey. There's also an incredible expansiveness of the person's chakra energies. They're accessing their true heart self and separating from the, external world as it might be being experienced by them at any given moment. So the children could be screaming outside of the room and somebody's starting a fire on the kitchen stove while they're cooking breakfast, but you're in a state of a journey and you might have some awareness that all of that is happening, but at the same time you're separated from it. And you're not getting overexcited, overcharged, or involved in that process. You come out of the journey and that activity is still going on, but you're much more likely to be able to approach that chaos or whatever is happening in the kitchen or someplace else in your home in a much more serene, balanced, harmonious kind of way without getting overexcited or overstimulated by what is going on. So there is absolutely no doubt in my mind, as a shamanic practitioner for many years, and then having added to that the research and the studies that have been going on that demonstrate without a shadow of doubt that shamanic journeying leads one to a place of incredible peace that is experienced not just in the heart and in the mind, but throughout the entire human body in a very positive way, accessing a place of calm and peace and lowering the blood pressure and lowering the heart rate and expanding a person's chakra energy while at the same time maintaining pure balance and harmony and a sense of well-being with all of life and all beings of any nature.
This completes our prepared questions on defining serenity. Is there anything you'd like to add on this topic at this time?
No, I feel complete with this at the moment. I look forward to next week's podcast and further information about how to utilize serenity in your life.
Thank you for listening to Dory Cote on Shamanism. We'd love to hear your thoughts, stories, reactions, and questions. Come on over to dorycote.com and join the conversation. And tune in next week for more on this subject, or next month for a new subject. You can subscribe to this podcast in iTunes or sign up on dorycote.com to receive notices when the podcasts are posted. That's Dory, D-O-R-Y, and Cote, C-O-T-E.com. Drumming and rattling by Dory Cote and Terry Morgan. Technical assistance and audio production by JillHackett.com. And this is Susan Savelle, wishing you many blessings in your life. We hope to have you join us next time.